Questions. My friends, we live in a world today where everyone is desperately looking for someone. Someone to make us happy, someone to complete us, someone to understand us. Questions. But here's the truth. You don't need anyone to complete you. You are already complete. The problem is not that people leave us. The problem is that we forget who we are when they do. You see, questions. If your peace depends on people, then your peace is temporary. Because people change, feelings change, situations change. Questions. But when your peace comes from within, from a place of awareness and acceptance, no one can take it away. When you say, questions, I can't live without them, you are not in love, you are in dependency. And dependency always ends in disappointment. When you hold sand tightly in your fist, it slips away. Questions. But when you open your palm, it stays. Love is like that. It grows in freedom. It suffocates in control. Let people come. Let people go. Questions. The ones who truly belong to your journey will walk beside you without being forced. You are special not because someone says so. You are special because you exist. Questions. Think about it. When a flower blooms, it doesn't wait for someone to admire it. It blooms because that's what flowers do. You don't need validation to shine. Shine because you are meant to. Questions. The loneliest person is the one who forgets their own worth. Being alone is not loneliness, it's space. Space to grow, to reflect, to rebuild yourself. Spend time with yourself. Talk to yourself. Questions. Understand yourself. The greatest relationship you can ever have is the one with your own soul. Yes, you might miss someone. You might feel pain. That's human. Questions. But don't confuse pain with emptiness. Emptiness is what happens when you stop living for yourself. You can breathe without them. You can smile without them. Questions. And you can rise even after they've left. When you chase love, you tell the universe you don't have it. When you become love, you attract it effortlessly. Questions. Work on yourself so deeply that you become magnetic. Let your peace, your purpose, your joy draw the right people toward you. You'll notice you no longer need anyone. You choose them. Questions. Emotional independence doesn't mean you stop caring. It means your emotions are yours to manage, not someone else's responsibility. When you rely on others to make you happy, questions, you hand them the remote control of your life. And they will change channels whenever they want. Take that remote back. Decide your own mood. Be the reason you smile today. Questions. Don't resent those who hurt you. They taught you boundaries. Don't hate those who left. They taught you self-reliance. Don't cling to those who stayed. Appreciate them with gratitude. Questions, not fear. Every soul that crosses your path plays a role. But remember, you are the main character in your story. When your heart is full, you won't beg for attention. You'll share it. Questions. When you are filled with purpose, you won't chase relationships. You'll inspire them. True freedom is when your happiness is not borrowed from anyone else. Questions. The more you fill yourself from within, the less you crave from outside. You don't need anyone to make you whole. You just need to become aware of the wholeness that's already within you. Questions. People can walk beside you, but they can never walk for you. Learn to stand tall, to smile from your own strength, and to move forward without fear. In life, questions. Don't search for someone who completes you. Search for someone who complements you. And before that, become someone who doesn't need completion. Questions. When you realize you don't need anyone, that's when you are truly ready to love everyone. Because my friends, the one who is whole within can never be broken by the world outside. Questions. Most people wake up in the morning and the first thing they check is their phone to see if someone texted them, liked their post, or replied to their message. Questions. The mind immediately begins to depend on others for its sense of worth. If the message is there, they smile. If it isn't, they feel something is wrong. Think about it. Questions. Isn't this how we've wired our happiness today? Our peace is sitting in someone else's pocket. When your peace depends on how others treat you, you become a puppet in the hands of the world. Questions. One wrong word, one cold look, one ignored message, and suddenly your mood collapses. It's like you gave everyone the remote control of your emotions, and now they decide whether you laugh or cry. Questions. My dear friends, you can't live like that forever. You cannot let someone's temporary behavior destroy your permanent peace. Imagine a peaceful lake. The water is calm and still. Questions. But if someone throws a stone in it, the surface ripples. The lake cannot control who throws the stone, but it can control how long the ripples last. In the same way, questions. You cannot control what others do to you, but you can decide how long you allow it to disturb you. If you keep replaying the insult, the argument, or the rejection in your head, the ripples never end. Questions. Peace is not the absence of problems. It's the ability to stay calm even when someone throws a stone. Let me tell you a simple story. A young man once came to a monk and said, questions. I'm always upset. People talk behind my back. My boss criticizes me. My friends ignore me. How can I find peace? The monk smiled and handed him a cup of water. Questions. Then he took a handful of salt and mixed it in. Drink it, he said. The young man took a sip and spit it out. It's bitter, he exclaimed. The monk then took him to a lake, questions, threw the same amount of salt into it, and asked him to drink again. This time, the water tasted fresh. The monk said, the amount of salt in life will never change. The pain, the criticism, questions, the problems, but your container can. Stop being a cup, become a lake. This is the key. You can't stop the world from being what it is, but you can expand your heart, your understanding, questions, your emotional capacity. The bigger you grow inside, the smaller other people's behavior feels. Their opinions lose the power to disturb you. In daily life, questions, we meet all kinds of people, the kind ones, the selfish ones, the rude ones, the unreliable ones. But remember, everyone is acting from their own level of awareness. If someone is angry, questions, they are carrying pain. If someone is rude, they are carrying fear. If someone ignores you, maybe they are fighting their own battles. Don't let their wounds infect your peace. Questions. Respond with understanding, not reaction, because peace is not a gift others give you. It's a skill you build within. Questions. Have you noticed how a small child can find joy in the simplest things? Blowing bubbles, chasing butterflies, playing with rain. That child doesn't need approval. Questions. They don't need 1,000 likes. The happiness is self-generated. But as we grow up, we forget that innocence. We start outsourcing our happiness to people, relationships, and results. Questions. That's why even with all the luxuries, we still feel empty inside. You might be working in an office where people gossip about you. You might be in a relationship where your efforts aren't valued. Questions. You might be surrounded by friends who only call when they need something. It's okay. You don't have to change them. Questions. Just change one thing. Stop expecting them to behave differently for you to be peaceful. The moment you stop expecting, you stop suffering. You can be polite, you can be loving. Questions. You can even care deeply. But don't tie your peace to their response. Because if you do, they will control your peace forever. And they might not even know it. Don't wait for apologies to heal. Questions. Don't wait for validation to feel worthy. Don't wait for understanding to be calm. Be calm anyway. When someone criticizes you, remember, people throw stones only at trees that bear fruit. Questions. When someone walks away, remember, not everyone can handle your light. When someone disrespects you, remember, they are showing their character, not yours. You can't control their words, questions, but you can control your reaction. That's real power. Peace is an inside job. You build it by detaching your emotions from external approval. Questions. You maintain it by choosing not to react to everything that happens. And you expand it by forgiving quickly and moving on gracefully. Questions. Forgiveness is not about saying what they did was okay. It's about saying, I won't let what you did destroy my peace. When you master that, you'll walk through life like a calm ocean. Questions. The waves may rise, but they can't drown you. The storms may come, but they can't shake your center. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, try something new. Instead of checking your phone, questions, check your breath. Sit quietly for a few minutes. Feel gratitude for being alive. Smile at yourself. Start the day by connecting with your inner peace before connecting with the world. Questions. Because if you begin the day centered, no one can pull you off balance. Remember, peace is not found in a place, a person, or a situation. Questions. It's found when you stop depending on those things and turn inward. The day you realize that, you become truly free. Don't give your peace as charity to people who haven't earned it. Questions. Don't trade it for approval, attention, or apology. Protect it like your most precious treasure. Because once you lose your peace, you lose your power. So stop depending on others for your peace. Questions. Instead, depend on your awareness, your gratitude, and your self-respect. People may come and go, but your peace, that's yours to keep forever. Questions. Love is a beautiful feeling. It gives life meaning, color, and purpose. But when love turns into attachment, it stops being beautiful. It becomes suffocating. Questions. Many of us confuse love with possession. We think loving someone means holding on tightly so they never leave. But in truth, love grows in freedom and it dies in control. Questions. Think of a bird sitting on your palm. If you try to hold it too tightly, you'll crush its wings. If you keep your palm open, it might fly away. Questions. But it will also know it can come back whenever it wants. Love works the same way. The tighter you hold someone, the more they'll feel trapped. The more space you give questions, the more they'll value your presence. In relationships, whether with friends, family, or a partner, we often start with pure affection. We enjoy their company. We appreciate who they are. But slowly, questions, fear creeps in. What if they leave? What if they change? What if they stop loving me? That fear becomes possessiveness. Questions. And that possessiveness pushes away the very person we wanted to keep close. Have you ever noticed how a plant grows best when it's given the right space, sunlight, and air? Questions. If you overwater it or crowd it with other plants, it wilts. Human hearts are like that. Love them, care for them, but don't overwater them with your insecurities. Questions. Too much attention can feel like pressure. Too many questions can feel like interrogation. Too many expectations can feel like a burden. One day, a man asked a wise monk, questions. How can I keep my loved ones close forever? The monk smiled and said, by never trying to own them. He continued, when you love a flower, you don't pluck it. Questions. You water and let it grow. But if you pluck it, you may keep it for a day, and it dies the next. That's what happens when we cling. We pluck the flower of love from the garden of trust. Questions. We stop loving freely and start owning fearfully. True love allows people to be who they are, not who we want them to be. In daily life, we see this everywhere. Questions. Parents sometimes hold on too tightly to their children. Out of love, they want to protect them, guide them, even decide for them. But in doing so, they clip their children's wings. Questions. The same happens in romantic relationships. Partners often say, I love you. But what they mean is, I own you. That's not love. That's control wrapped in affection. Questions. Real love is not about holding someone close. It's about holding them right. It's about giving them the freedom to breathe, to grow, to make mistakes. Questions. And still knowing that your bond doesn't depend on control. When you cling to someone, you create fear. Fear of losing them. That fear breeds anxiety, jealousy, and overthinking. Questions. You start reading too much into their silences. You start doubting their loyalty over small things. And without realizing, you push them away. Clinging never secures love. It suffocates it. Questions. There's a difference between loving someone and depending on them for happiness. When love becomes your oxygen, you panic at the thought of losing it. Questions. But love should be like perfume. Its presence should uplift you, not choke you. Look at the sky and the sun. The sky never tries to hold the sun. Every evening it lets the sun go. Questions. Trusting that it will rise again in the morning. That's faith. That's love without clinging. When you love someone truly, you trust the bond enough to give it space. Sometimes, questions, people will walk away. Sometimes they will drift apart, and it will hurt deeply. But even in that pain, remember, love that demands return is not love. Questions. Love that gives without expectation is divine. If you truly love someone, bless them in silence, even if they move on. Because your love should reflect who you are, not how they behave. Questions. When you stop clinging, something magical happens. You start to enjoy the present. You stop worrying about the future or replaying the past. Questions. You begin to appreciate people for who they are in this moment. You no longer say, I need you to make me happy. Instead, you say, questions. I'm happy sharing this journey with you. That shift from need to gratitude transforms everything. Questions. A healthy relationship is like two trees standing side by side, their roots connected deeply in the earth, but their branches growing freely in the sky. They don't lean on each other for survival. Questions. Yet they share strength from the same soil of trust. That's love, not dependence, not obsession, just silent understanding and freedom. If someone wants to leave, let them go gracefully. Questions. If someone chooses to stay, cherish them with gratitude. You can't keep love by force. You can only keep it by choice. Don't chase people who walk away. Questions. Don't beg for love that must be begged for. Because love that needs constant proof isn't love. It's fear wearing a mask. When you stop clinging, you reclaim your dignity. Questions. You stop lowering your worth to keep someone around. You stop crying for attention and start radiating confidence. That's when love begins to flow back to you naturally. Questions. Because people are drawn to peace, not desperation. So, love deeply but let go lightly. Care sincerely but don't control. Give wholeheartedly but don't expect. Questions. Because love is not about how long someone stays. It's about how purely you can love even when they don't. In the end, real love doesn't make you anxious. It makes you peaceful. Questions. It doesn't cage you, it sets you free. So let your love be like the wind, unseen, untamed, but always felt. Love people, my friends, but don't cling. Questions. Because the moment you learn to love without holding too tightly, that's when love finally starts to hold you. Questions. From the day we are born, the world teaches us to seek approval. A child draws something, and the first thing they do is run to their parents saying, look what I made. They look for that smile. Questions. That wow, that's amazing. And if they don't get it, their little heart feels something break. Slowly, we start believing that our worth depends on what others think of us. But the truth is, questions. You are special not because someone tells you that you are. You are special simply because you exist. You don't need a certificate from society to validate your value. Questions. The sun doesn't need anyone to say, you're bright. The ocean doesn't wait for applause to keep waving. And the flower doesn't bloom for admiration. It blooms because that's its nature. Questions. Likewise, your worth is not a reaction to someone's opinion. It's a reflection of your existence. Think about it. There are over 8 billion people in the world, but there's no one like you. Questions. No one with your exact mind, your exact laugh, your exact way of feeling. You are once in history creation. Isn't that incredible? Yet, most of us spend our lives comparing ourselves to others. Questions. wishing we had their looks, their success, their talents. But the moment you compare, you forget your uniqueness. A rose never envies a lotus, and the lotus never envies a rose. Questions. They both bloom beautifully in their own place. You two are meant to bloom where you are planted. In school, we are graded, ranked, compared. In the workplace, we are evaluated, reviewed, and rated. Questions. Social media has turned life into a scoreboard. How many followers, how many likes, how many views? And in the noise of all this measurement, we forget the one truth that matters. Questions. Your value is not measurable. Let me share a simple example. A motivational speaker once held up a 1,000 rupee note in front of an audience. He asked questions. Who wants this? Everyone raised their hands. Then he crumpled the note and asked again. All hands still went up. Then he dropped it on the floor, stepped on it, and said, questions. No, who still wants it? Still, every hand was raised. The speaker smiled and said, no matter what I did to this note. Questions. You still wanted it because its value never decreased. The same goes for you. Life may crumple you with failures, step on you with rejection, questions, and stain you with criticism. But your value doesn't change. You are still worthy, still precious, still enough. Every morning when you look in the mirror, don't search for flaws. Don't say questions. I'll love myself when I lose weight, or when I get that job, or when they love me back. No, say, I love myself because I'm alive today, because I am breathing. Questions. Because I am becoming. When you depend on others to tell you your worth, you become their slave. If they praise you, you rise. If they ignore you, you fall. Questions. That's not freedom. That's emotional captivity. Real confidence comes when you no longer need validation to know who you are. When you walk into a room and don't wonder, questions. Do they like me? But rather, do I like the person I am becoming? That's power. Let's take an everyday example. Imagine two people at work. Both do good work, but only one gets noticed. Questions. The other feels invisible, unappreciated. Slowly, their motivation fades. But the truth is, the work still has value. Even if no one sees it, the effort still matters. Even if it isn't praised. Questions. The tree doesn't stop giving shade just because no one thanks it. The river doesn't stop flowing because people throw stones in it. Likewise, your goodness, your kindness, questions, your effort, they all matter, whether or not anyone claps for you. Sometimes the world won't see your value because they're not meant to. It's not your job to convince them. Questions. It's your job to remember it. The diamond doesn't lose its shine because someone prefers gold. It still remains rare, valuable, and pure. You might feel unnoticed in your relationships, questions, unappreciated at work, or unseen in your struggles. But I promise you, there's something divine about you that doesn't need recognition. Questions. The tree still grows quietly in the forest where no one is watching. And you too can grow in silence. The fruit will speak for itself in time. Stop waiting for people to call you special. Questions. Start realizing you already are. Every breath you take, every heartbeat is proof that life thought you were worthy of existence. You have something to give. A smile, a talent, a word of kindness. Questions. A perspective. You matter more than you know. The universe doesn't create anything without purpose. You are not a mistake. You are not random. You are intentionally designed. Every scar, questions, every setback, every detour, they're all shaping you into who you're meant to be. Don't let one rejection make you forget your value. Questions. Don't let one person's silence make you question your beauty. Don't let one failure make you doubt your potential. The stars don't lose their glow because someone is too busy to look up. Questions. They shine anyway. Be like that. And remember this, your value doesn't increase when someone loves you, and it doesn't decrease when someone leaves you. Love and loss are experiences, questions, not measurements of worth. So today, take a moment to breathe and say to yourself, I am enough. Not because someone says so, but because I exist, because I'm alive, because I'm learning questions, because I'm me. You are special, not because the world sees it, but because you are a living, breathing expression of creation itself. When you finally realize that questions, you stop begging for validation and start radiating confidence, gratitude, and peace. You don't need anyone to tell you your worth. The very fact that you exist in this vast universe questions at this moment in time is proof that you are needed, loved, and chosen by life itself. And that, my friends, is what truly makes you special. Questions. People often say, I feel lonely. But loneliness is not about being alone in a room. It's about being disconnected from yourself. You can be surrounded by hundreds of people, chatting, smiling, questions, even laughing, and still feel a deep emptiness inside. And you can sit quietly by yourself on a park bench and feel completely peaceful. So the question is not questions, how many people are around you, but how connected are you to yourself? The loneliest person is not the one who sits alone at night. It's the one who looks in the mirror and feels like a stranger. Questions. The one who has forgotten their own value, their own beauty, their own light. When you forget your worth, even the loudest company can't fill the silence within. Questions. We live in a world where being alone is seen as something wrong, as if silence is a disease. The moment someone sees you sitting by yourself, they ask, why are you alone? Questions. Are you okay? But being alone is not a problem. It's a privilege. It's the space where you meet yourself again. Let's take an example. Imagine your phone battery is running low. Questions. You plug it into the charger, and while it's charging, you don't use it. You let it rest so it can regain power. In the same way, solitude is the charger for your soul. When you spend time alone, questions, you recharge mentally and emotionally. You reflect, you heal, you regain clarity. But when you constantly surround yourself with noise, people, and distractions, you drain your inner battery. Questions. That's when loneliness creeps in, because you've lost connection with your inner source. Many people try to escape loneliness by seeking constant company. Questions. They jump from one relationship to another, one friendship to another, one social gathering to another, just to avoid silence. But the truth is, if you cannot enjoy your own company, questions, no one else can fill that void for you. Love, friendship, companionship, they are meant to add to your happiness, not replace it. There's a beautiful story about a man who always felt lonely. Questions. He complained to a wise teacher, everyone leaves me. I can't hold relationships. I feel empty inside. The teacher smiled and gave him a lamp. He said, questions, take this lamp into a dark room and light it. The man did. The teacher asked, do you see the darkness now? The man said, no, it's gone. The teacher said, questions. That's what happens when you light your inner lamp. Darkness doesn't leave you because someone else enters. It leaves because you shine. That's what self-worth does. Questions. It lights the room of your heart. The moment you realize your value, loneliness cannot stay. Think about daily life. There are people who constantly need to be in touch, constantly need validation. Questions. Constantly seek attention. They fear silence because silence makes them face their own emptiness. But that silence is not your enemy. It's your teacher. Questions. It tells you where you've lost touch with your own heart. When you sit quietly and listen, you begin to hear your own thoughts, your own desires, your own truth. Questions. You begin to remember who you are without the noise of opinions. You begin to reconnect with your soul. That's where true peace begins. Not in a crowded room, questions, but in a quiet moment of understanding. There is a difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the pain of being disconnected. Solitude is the joy of being with yourself. Loneliness says, questions, I need someone to complete me. Solitude says, I am already whole. Or in today's world, we've mistaken attention for affection. We think if someone texts us constantly, calls us daily, questions, or likes all our photos, that means they care. But attention is temporary. Questions. The real relationship you must build is with yourself. Because you're the only person who will walk with you from your first breath to your last. Don't be afraid of being alone. Questions. Be afraid of being surrounded by people who make you forget yourself. Don't fill your silence with random company. Fill it with self-discovery. Read, reflect, meditate. Questions. Go for walks without your phone. Sit under the sky and watch the stars. Let nature remind you that you're not lonely. You're connected to everything around you. Questions. There will be moments when life isolates you, when people leave, when plans fail, when the noise fades. Those moments are not punishment, they're preparation. Questions. Life pulls you away from others so you can return to yourself stronger. Remember, even the seed must go deep into the dark soil before it can bloom in sunlight. Solitude is that soil. Questions. It's where you grow roots of resilience, patience, and clarity. When you start valuing yourself, you'll see that you don't need constant company to feel full. You'll enjoy your own presence. Questions. You'll laugh alone, think deeply, and find joy in small moments. And when you do meet people, you won't come from a place of need. You'll come from a place of abundance. You won't say, questions, I need you to make me happy. You'll say, I'm already happy. Questions. And I'd love to share that with you. That's when relationships become beautiful. Not two half people clinging to each other out of emptiness. Questions. But two whole people walking together out of choice. So my friend, if you ever feel lonely, don't rush to fill that space. Sit in it. Let it teach you. Questions. The silence you fear might just be the voice of your soul waiting to speak. The emptiness you feel might just be space for something beautiful to grow. Questions. You are never truly alone, because the moment you remember your worth, you'll realize that the most loyal companion you'll ever have is within you. Questions. The loneliest person is not the one who sits in silence. It's the one who has forgotten how powerful, capable, and complete they already are. The moment you remember that, questions, loneliness transforms into peace, and solitude becomes your sacred strength. Questions. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves in moments of heartbreak, rejection, or loss is this: I can't live without them. But let's pause for a second. Is that really true? Questions. Think about all the people you once thought you couldn't live without. Where are they now? And yet here you are, breathing, surviving, growing, still standing strong. That alone proves the truth. Questions. People are not oxygen. You won't die without them. When we say someone is our world, our everything, we unknowingly give away our power. We make another human being the center of our universe. Questions. And when they leave, it feels like everything collapses. But it doesn't. The sun still rises, the birds still sing, life still goes on. The pain feels unbearable. Yes, questions. But it does not end you. It transforms you. There's a difference between missing someone and needing them to survive. Missing is human, dependency is dangerous. You can miss someone's presence, questions, their voice, their laughter. But when you start believing you can't exist without them, you've handed them control of your life. And no one deserves that much control over your peace. Questions. Let's take a simple example. When we hold our breath, we panic. Why? Because oxygen is essential to life. But when someone leaves us, we also panic, as if we've lost air. Yet moments later, questions, we're still breathing. That's life's way of reminding us. You may feel broken, but you're still alive. Your breath is proof that life is bigger than your heartbreak. In relationships, questions, we often say things like, you complete me. It sounds romantic, but it's deeply misleading. You are not born incomplete. You are born whole. Another person can complement you, not complete you. Questions. Depending on someone else to feel complete means you've forgotten your own wholeness. And when they go, you feel empty. Not because they took your worth, questions, but because you stopped nurturing it yourself. Imagine you're walking through a beautiful garden. You see hundreds of flowers, each blooming on its own stem. None of them leans on another to grow. Questions. Each one stands tall, taking its nourishment from the same sunlight and soil. People are like that too. Each of us has our own source of light and life within. Questions. But when we start leaning too much on others, we stop growing from our own roots. Yes, people bring joy. Relationships bring connection. But they are meant to add flavor to your life. Questions. Not become your lifeline. You can live without anyone, but you cannot live without yourself. Losing people is a part of life. Losing yourself in the process is a tragedy. Let me share a story. Questions. A woman once came to a monk, crying that her husband had left her. "I can't live without him," she sobbed. The monk gently handed her a glass of water and said, "Questions. Hold it straight for 5 minutes." She did. Then he asked her to hold it for 10 minutes more. Her arm began to ache. After 15 minutes, she couldn't bear it and put the glass down. Questions. The monk smiled and said, "The problem isn't the glass, it's how long you hold it. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. When people leave, we carry their memory like that glass." Questions. We replay every word, every moment, every smile, and we hold on too tightly. The weight of those memories begins to hurt. Questions. But the moment we set it down, the moment we let go, the pain starts to ease. Letting go doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you stop letting that love destroy your peace. Questions. Think about how strong you really are. You've survived every heartbreak so far. You've stood up after every disappointment. You've smiled again after every tear. Questions. That's proof that your strength doesn't come from who stays with you. It comes from who you are inside. Sometimes people leave without reason. Sometimes they change. And sometimes, questions. Life separates you from those you love, but that's okay. Because your purpose doesn't depend on their presence. Life continues to unfold. New people enter. New lessons appear. Questions. You may not realize it now, but every goodbye is making room for something better. When you believe someone is your everything, you close your world around them. But when they leave, questions, you begin to see how vast your world actually is. You start rediscovering yourself, your dreams, your passions, your forgotten joys. The same space that felt empty starts to fill with new light. Questions. Remember, people are chapters in your story, not the whole book. Some chapters are beautiful, some are painful, but each one shapes you. You can't stop reading your life because one chapter ended. Questions. You turn the page and keep going because the story isn't over yet. In everyday life, you'll see examples of people who've lost loved ones, gone through betrayal, questions, or faced loneliness. Yet they rise stronger, they travel, build new careers, make new friends, find joy again. They prove every day that life doesn't stop when someone walks away. It pauses, questions, it hurts, and then it moves forward. And so will you. You might feel like your heart is shattered, but even broken hearts still beat. They heal slowly, but they heal beautifully. With time, questions, you'll look back and realize that losing someone didn't end you. It started a new version of you. A version that's wiser, more peaceful, more grounded. So the next time someone leaves, questions, don't say, "I can't live without them." Say, "I can live and I will." Let their absence be the reminder of your independence. Let it teach you to find happiness in your own presence. Questions. People are not oxygen. You don't need them to breathe, to grow, or to live. You only need awareness. The awareness that your life is your own. Those who are meant to stay will stay effortlessly. Questions. Those who are not will go, no matter how tightly you hold on. And that's okay, because your purpose is not to keep everyone, it's to keep yourself whole. Your breath, your peace, questions, your joy, they all come from within. So breathe deeply, my friend. The air of life is still with you. And as long as you're breathing, you're already complete.